How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly well. Yeah. How are you doing, sir? Nice to
Wonderful.
speak to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me.
My pleasure, man. I'm in the production office of Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival about an hour before my rehearsal. So I got up early just for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I mean, congratulations on the productions. I was watching the film yesterday to kind of refresh my memory. It's a fantastic production.
It's a fantastic play. It's
Wow,
one
it's a
of the
fantastic
best
play.
plays written by a modern playwright in history, theatrical history. I'm
Uh-huh.
honored to be here, and I'm walking on the steps of giants.
Absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, this is, you're no newcomer to August Wilson, obviously, but I understand also that your director this time around, he actually got the chance to kind of work as an understudy with August a few years back, and kind of, I imagine that helped him to.
No, I wasn't an understudy.
No, sorry, no, your director here, Ryan Quinn, the director that you've got for your production. I think he was an understudy back in 2015.
Yes, at the Yale Repertory Theater.
So did he kind of come to you with any tips or anything that he'd learned from August, from his time that he spent with him?
He had the pleasure of working with August as well as I did. I did the premiere production of King Hedley II.
Right.
So I got to work with August and for 2 years. So both of us have personal experience of standing at the foot of such a humble genius.
Mm-hmm. And when you work with August, what would you say that was kind of him was kind of like the brunt of what he wanted to get across from the stage? Because obviously, when it goes from paper to the stage, it goes through a metamorphosis of kinds. No, how would you say that he took it from the page to the stage to portray this really strong, or all these strong messages and themes that he wanted to get across?
Well, if you're a strong actor and you've trained in theater, you realize when you read any of his 10 scripts that the words just sing. And if you commit to the learning of the text and learn how to connect with your fellow actors, everything else is going to just work out groovy, man. It's just, it's like you're singing an opera without the music, because the music is in the themes and in the words and in the passion. And that's what draws me continually back to theater. And not just August, but primarily August. But I started in theater. That's where I got my training. I have a master's in theater from Trinity Rep. And I always go back to it. Now, I've been successful, obviously, in film, TV, and voiceover. But the thing that brings me the most joy is the stage. And anybody that's been on stage will understand what I'm saying. It's a privilege.
I mean, it must be especially the case given what the kind of the last couple of years that we've been through with COVID and everything, that the chance to be able to share your performances in front of a live audience, that must make things so much better than it ever has been in the kind of the last 30, 40 years that you've been performing, no?
It's a blessing, because everybody that comes, the audience has to stay masked, and they fill up the arena, if you will, and they're there to witness the beauty of the words, the beauty of interconnected actors, interconnected passions. However, I did a show here last year. I did August's one-man show, How I Learned What I Learned, and we had unfortunately a limited audience for that. I think it was cut to just 125 people per night, but they showed up. And that was right at what we call the false ending of the first false pandemic. When I say false, I mean, it wasn't over. It's still not over.
Yeah.
I mean, here we have to be tested. Just got the word that we're going down from 3 testings a week to just 2. So, you know, and that's a moment of drama. You take that rapid test and you got to wait 15 minutes, like playing blackjack with the devil, as August would say. You don't know which way it's going to turn out. But so far, so good.
Yep, no, fingers crossed. Yes, I'm sure it's going to go down really well.
Well, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm avoiding any public. Listen, I'm a gambler. There's a beautiful casino here. I haven't stepped foot in it once.
Right.
And, you know, so talk about the sacrificial nature of an actor. That's when I'm living. That's what I'm doing.
And then obviously that brings me to the kind of the play itself. You talk there about sacrifices. In the play, your character, he wasn't prepared to take sacrifices because he didn't feel that he had the chances that he deserved.
Yeah.
He passes that on to his children. And then would you say that was something that you could really kind of resonate like that resonated with you, you were born in the 50s when it's set? No, was that something that you could kind of really resonate with
Well, I
kind
think
of
any actor that embarks on this incredible journey is going to have moments of doubt, moments of rejection, moments of panic. But my training sustained me. I mean, I paid my dues. I worked as a bartender for 3 years at the wonderful West Bank Theater Bar and Cafe in New York. And fortunately, every night there was a show on stage. So at least I was close to the thing, bartending, serving actors, which I really enjoyed at the time. But I never had any doubt. That's what training does for you. I knew that if I waited long enough, the opportunities would come. And lo and behold, they did. My first movie was Platoon. And that came about because I was doing a one-man show by Dalton Trumbull, Johnny Got His Gun. And Oliver Stone's people caught wind of it. Next thing you know, I'm in the Philippines. And ever since then, because of the tremendous, I don't want to use the word hit, but tremendous impact of that film, we were all placed on a very special list. And, if not offers came through, all the opportunities came through. And that's all an actor needs is an opportunity to express their inner heart.
But I mean, just kind of bringing it back to the play, you wanting to be an actor, were your parents, were your family very kind of dedicated to help you and support you to be an actor? Or did they kind of think that there was kind of a tough route to go, similar to kind of how Troy sees his specifically his younger son playing football?
No, it was completely opposite. I was rescued by my aunt, the wonderful Clara Evelston, when I was 3 years old. And she made sure, because, I grew up during the 60s, that I wasn't involved in any gangs. I wasn't involved in any criminal activity, and she occupied my summers with activities like science camps, Boy Scouts of America, all kinds of things. It just kept me, and I learned. I was an amateur magician, so I knew how to take care of myself. And fortunately, she lived long enough to see. And I remember one of her last words to me was, "You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay." And she believed it, and I believed her.
Oh, that's fantastic. That reminds me almost of kind of like the end of the play, when obviously people who haven't seen it won't know, but obviously kind of the children, they do actually kind of make something of themselves, or they just manage to do things that want them to make them want to get up, and do something in the morning.
You got to have something to make you get up in the morning. And all that is a result, I think, of Troy, the lead character's emphasis on tough love, because as he says, ain't nobody going to hold your hand when you get out in that world. He's got to make his own way. I made mine. So, one of the tragedies of Troy and a lot of underused and under neglected Black men at that time in America was they didn't have an outlet. They were forced to do menial labor. And Troy was a superstar in the Negro Leagues. He was a dominant baseball player. But as he says, I came along too early, okay, and he wasn't the right color. And that's part of his drive. That's his inner motor that dominates the theme of the play.
I wanted to talk about, I mean, I was watching like I said, I was watching the film yesterday, and it's such a powerful, and the performances are just so
rich.
So rich, and go from one side of this one edge of the spectrum to the other. How do you go through that? Go through all those different emotions every day?
Because I have a wonderful cast, and I have a on-point director, and it's all moment to moment. Whatever they give me, I give it to them back from Troy's point of view.
And how do you keep the drive going? Because obviously, I imagine you maybe try and shift things around a little bit just to kind of play off each other a little bit each day, or no?
Well, no, not the core of the play. That's going to always be consistent. Yeah. We've been working together now for 2.5 weeks, and we're really getting to know each other, and everybody's bringing their A game. So there's no reason not to knock it out the park. And I'm thrilled with my cast and my production team. I just took a picture of our sets under construction as we speak, and I try to go in every 3 days to see where it's coming, and that helps me. Go, okay, we're almost ready into the arena. I use that word twice, and it's kind of what it is. It's like it's a battle of the gods.
But I mean, for you, how is it different from kind of screen acting, the stage acting, the screen acting? How do you approach it in a different way? I mean, you said that it's for you, your life is the theater, no? If you had to
Well,
choose.
my heart is the theater. My
Yeah.
life is film and voiceover. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Okay.
that pays the bills
Yeah.
and feeds the fan base. But there will come a time when all I do is theater because it's what I love the most. It's honest, it's truthful, keeps you on your toes, and you reach people with an immediacy. The people that are in the audience on any given night are the people that's being affected by the words, the power of emotion, the trajectory of the actors. I mean, that's immediate feedback. Now, yes, I do a film and people still talk about certain films, you know, and that's wonderful. But I whistle sweet people that think I'm wonderful in any particular film would actually see what we do on stage and see what the difference is.
Mm-hmm. And when you do theatrical productions, do you find that a lot of the people that come to see you are more theater goers, or are they actually a lot of them also people that have enjoyed you in films and because of that reason they've got interested in your theater productions as well?
I think it's about a 50-50 mix, you know. I reach people that never, you know, there is a bias toward, I mean, not that I only do horror films, but there is a certain bias that exists in the majority of people. But when they learn, they say, oh my God. So I think what I'm doing is even elevating the craft of horror films as well, because they get to see what it takes. You know, I had the pleasure working on Star Trek, and almost everybody that was in the Star Trek universe had some theater experience. And same with the horror community. It's a fascinating group of people. And we understand. I mean, I forgive me if I'm being so forward as to speak to others, but I believe people truly appreciate the raciousness of the horror community.
No, absolutely, yeah. But then
I mean, I made a
I think
pledge. I have a strong Twitter following, and anybody that proves and comes up to me that their Twitter follower is going to get a signed program. So
all right.
that's an incentive for them to come out and witness live theater. Then that's the least I can do.
I'm talking of Twitter. I think it was back in March. I think it was. I read that you said that you were thinking of retiring from acting for the screen, no, to kind of focus on family and your own life in the theater.
I didn't mean like the next day.
No, of course not. I was looking at IMDb. You've got a lot of things on the go.
Sometimes you got to be careful. Twitter has no syntax. There's no exclamation points. What I meant is that I found, because at that point I was preparing for fences, I just find that there's a joy that I get from theater that I just don't get from film. I mean, trust me, I only take the film roles that I'm very interested in. We get tons of them. I only take the ones that are at least different from the last one. That's how I stay engaged. No, all I meant by that, if I had to choose, theater would win hands down.
Yeah, so I mean, you could see yourself maybe kind of retiring gracefully, but kind of carrying on it in the theater world.
I got like, what have I got? 10 films in the can right now. And
yeah, so I was looking on IMDb. You've got loads of things. Yeah, you got
and offers on the table,
video games and all kinds of things. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that Spider-Man 2 is going to be huge.
Yeah, I was just telling my son now that he's just played the first 2 Spider-Man games, and I'm going to speak to the guy who's doing Venom's voice. He's like, "You're joking."
Is he excited?
No, he's really excited about it. He loves the previous 2 games. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, this one's going to be epic. So tell him that for me.
Yeah, that must have been. I mean, the fact that Tom Hardy played him in the last 2 films. Did you feel any kind of pressure going in to voice Venom at all?
Whatsoever. There's 2 different mediums. That was a film. This is a game, which is even more immersive because the player gets to take charge. You know. The other one is like a visual thing. And interesting enough, Tom and I worked together on an obscure film called Minotaur that we shot in Luxembourg 12 years ago, so maybe 15. So everything is interconnected.
Everything comes full circle. Yeah.